Hi folks, Dr. Miller here with you in our FIN-530 course. We're looking at, in corporate finance this week, we're looking at Module 5, Capital Budgeting. And I chose this module because I think this topic is very relevant, germane to our discussion, our conceptual discussion of corporate finance. Capital budgeting, and how would we understand the concept but by relating to it personally? The best example that I could give you personally is your investment in your Colorado State University master's program. That's an investment in yourself, a long-term investment of human capital, intellectual capital, economic capital, and opportunity cost, all to derive a benefit over the long term, which will be measured by the cash flows resulting from your earnings over the course of a lifetime. That is a perfect example of what corporations go through when they try to measure capital budgeting. I'm going to talk about some of the capital budgeting decision rules, but if you can keep the example that I referenced, your investment in your CSU-Global education is a perfect conceptual example and way for you to relate to our discussion of capital budgeting. Capital budgeting, the reason why it's so important is firms make decisions about what productive capital investments to invest in job-creating, cash flow-producing investments. One of the best ways to interview with a company is to learn more about their capital budgeting plans, their plans for growth, expansion, investment in the business, capital expenditures. By so doing, you're going to be looking at the source of future cash flow, the source of future profitability, the source of future jobs. So goes capital budgeting. So goes the success of the company, the jobs, and its enterprise. We talk about, to evaluate different projects, the finance people like myself have come up with what we call net present value, different decision rules. Today I just wanted to touch on two of them, two of the most prominent, which is net present value, which is a dollar measure, and the internal rate of return, which is a percentage measure. Each of these capital budgeting decision rules is a function of time and risk. Each of them intends to measure the future cash flows associated with an investment based upon the dollar value or percentage value adjusted for time and risk. Because the net present value and internal rate of return measures are functions of time and risk, they are relevant to the types of projects that we look at, which are based upon time and risk. Identifying the relevant risks, the economic risks such as inflation, interest rates, and so forth. Let's see. Okay, so one of the things I would ask you to do as we kind of wind through this discussion is to think of your investment literally. How would you measure your investment in your CSU Global education if it were a capital budgeting project which you were required to report on to perhaps to your significant other? So look at your investment in terms of your human capital, your intellectual capital, the risks, assign a risk factor. Capital budgeting assigns what's called a discount or cost of capital number. So think about how would you measure your investment as a capital budgeting item, your investment in your education. Corporations go through the same process. And I want you to think about how they compare and how they contrast. I hope this conversation has helped a bit in terms of understanding the basics of capital budgeting. Thanks.